Hey, I'll see you in Rutherford, New Jersey, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Ontario, California, Davenport, Iowa, Las Vegas, Chicago, and Grand Rapids, Michigan. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Guess what? This is the headline in the Telegraph newspaper. COVID vaccines may have helped fuel the rise in excess deaths.
Whoopsie-daisy.
Experts call for more research into side effects and possible links to mortality rates. Really?
Or just release the numbers you do have from the research you did when you experimented on all of us. How about that? More research.
Researchers from the Netherlands, analyzed data from 47 Western countries and discovered there had been more than 3 million excess deaths since 2020. So it's starting to creep into. They're starting, but they're still downplaying it. It's starting to creep into mainstream news. And I tell whenever I talk with Joe Rogan or text him, I'm like, no one will bring up excess deaths. Dr. John Campbell brings it up, and go look at his Wikipedia page and look what they've done to him. Dr. John Campbell, who still pretends that he doesn't pretend, he just doesn't talk to me. He won't come on the show, won't have me. He goes on Russell Brand's show. He won't come on this show.
He won't violent to AOC.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
If I had to pick a reason.
Is that it?
You were cursing.
My stochastic. Yeah, because I swear too much.
You stochastically swear at her.
So there has been 3 million excess deaths since 2020, with the trend continuing despite the rollout of vaccines and containment measures.
What?
They said the unprecedented figures raised serious concerns and called on governments to fully investigate the underlying causes, including possible vaccine harms.
Wait, do you think rushing it might have had something to do with it? I'm not a doctor.
I'm not a doctor.
Operation Warp Speed, where you take way less time than you normally would, might have had a connection?
Imagine if they did warp speed on any other thing. Hey, we built this new airplane in warp speed. Go fly on it.
Yeah, I think they did do that. Also gender affirming care. Actually, everything now.
Writing in the BMJ Public Health, the authors from this university in Amsterdam said, although COVID-19 vaccines were provided to guard civilians from suffering morbidity and mortality by the COVID-19 virus, suspected adverse events have been documented as well. Both medical professionals and citizens have reported serious injuries and deaths following vaccination to various official databases in the Western world. They added, during the pandemic, it was emphasized by politicians and the media on a daily basis that every COVID-19 death mattered and every life deserved protection through containment measures and COVID-19 vaccines. In the aftermath of the pandemic, the same moral should apply. Well, why isn't it? Why don't they care about excess deaths? Why are no one talking about it? This is the first mainstream publication I've seen talk about it. The study found that across Europe, the U.S., and Australia, there had been more than 1 million excess deaths in 2020 at the height of the pandemic, but also 1.2 million in 2021 and 800,000 in 2022 after measures were implemented and everybody had the vax. Researchers said the figure included deaths from COVID-19, but also the indirect effects of the health strategies to address the virus spread and infection.
I think those are direct effects. If it causes it, that's a direct effect.
That's a direct effect. They warned that side effects linked to the COVID vaccine had included ischemic stroke, acute coronary syndrome, and brain hemorrhage, cardiovascular diseases, pericarditis, myocarditis, coagulation. I don't even know what the hemorrhage is, gastrointestinal events, and blood clotting. Well, we know about the blood clotting. One person who worked for this company took the one that they pulled, that Johnson & Johnson, because of the blood clots. They pulled it.
Well, I guess you have to get the mRNA one now.
German researchers have pointed out that that person never talks about it. German researchers have pointed out that the onset of excess mortality in early 2021 in the country coincided with the rollout of vaccines.
Oh, is Crystal Ball going to be on this one, on Breaking Points? She's going to cover this story, you think?
I'm going to bet she doesn't. Which the team said warranted further investigation. I'm going to guess all my comedian friends who were pro-mandating the vaccine aren't going to cover this either.
They're not even going to know about it.
They don't even know.
You tell them news from the news, and they're going to say it's a conspiracy.
Yes. However, more recent data regarding side effects has not been made available. Really?
Why?
Has not been made available to the public. With countries keeping their own individual databases of harms which rely on self-reporting by the public and doctors, the experts warned. And there was one guy, the head of Slovakia, who ordered an investigation into all this, and then he got shot in the head.
Hey, that's weird. What do you suppose the goal was of this now, seeing as how they've all got information from it?
Yeah.
They're holding on to it. They're not going to tell you.
So look at this chart that's in this article. It says, how risky was AstraZeneca vaccine? This is not Pfizer or Moderna. This is AstraZeneca. Well, if you give birth, 1 in 12,500 there are deaths from giving birth. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
That's high.
The chance of if you're under 50 getting blood clots with low platelets from the AstraZeneca vaccine, 1 in 50,000.
That's not good. That's better than the lotto.
So let's remember there was an adverse event of 1 in 100 back in 1977 with the swine flu. They pulled that vaccine. Death from receiving general anesthesia, 1 in 100,000. I didn't know it was that high. Did you?
No. I kind of did, but I put it
Death
in my
from
head.
hang gliding, 1 in 125,000.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Death from going in a scuba dive, 1 in 200,000. So scuba diving is much safer than hang gliding.
Yeah.
By the way, they're both safer than getting the AstraZeneca.
You should have hang glided for COVID.
Drowning in a bathtub, 1 in 685,000. Death from drinking, a half a liter of wine, 1 in a million.
I want to put that up against like crack and stuff. I bet crack's not even near as dangerous.
So researchers said that it was likely that the impact of containment measures, the stuff they had you to do to try to fight COVID, restricted healthcare and socioeconomic upheaval during the pandemic had contributed to deaths, although accepted that was difficult to prove.
Hey, every little bit helps.
Gordon Wishart, a chief medical officer at Check for Cancer and visiting professor of cancer surgery at this Ruskin University, he warned repeatedly that delaying cancer diagnosis would lead to deaths. So people were getting their regular checkups like they should have, and it led to more cancer deaths, is what they're saying.
And no one said, hey, that might be a problem, and they just went on. It seems like they wanted that to happen.
The authors are correct to point out that many vaccine-related serious adverse events may have been unreported and point to the fact that the simultaneous onset of excess mortality and COVID vaccination in Germany is worthy of further investigation on its own.
I'm glad they came to that conclusion finally. That's great.
The paper provides more questions than answers, but it is hard to disagree with their conclusion that further analysis is required to understand the underlying causes of excess mortality to better prepare for the future management of pandemic crisis.
Oh, my God.
I
can't say.
So I also just have to let you know that the vaccine, the FDA and the CDC still recommending it, and it is safe and effective. So don't be worried. It's fantastic. And
wear a mask.
And wear a mask. And it doesn't stop the spread, but it certainly slows it, and it'll keep you from getting seriously ill, hospitalized, or dead. So this is just what these people are saying in this newspaper and at these universities and at the cancer centers. I would listen to the FDA and the CDC and Dr. Fauci and those types of people, and they say it's just fantastic. Get your booster. I think you'd be up to number 9 or 10 by now. Get your bivalent booster. You come see me on tour in Rutherford, New Jersey, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Ontario, California, Las Vegas, Davenport, Iowa, Chicago, Illinois. We're doing a live panel video show, special surprise guests on that show, and Grand Rapids, Michigan. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and make sure you go to Jimmy Dore because they don't want to buy it from a second reseller.